Hello and welcome to Top Fives, the show of everything. Top Fives, presented by the Sex Effects. I'm Joey Parati.
And I'm Shaun Day.
And folks, we're returning to the world of cinema this evening. Cinema. Or maybe not cinema, according to Martin Scorsese. We'll find out. But before we get to all the cinema verte, Jonathan, how are you, my friend?
Doing okay, man. Fresh off the presidential debate as we are recording this episode tonight. So we're going to definitely talk a little bit about that tonight.
Yeah.
But yeah, doing okay. You know, I'm working a few more shifts this week, so I'm just kind of in a haze a little bit. It's a little tired, so but yeah, it's been a decent week and still hot as shit out here in LA. And
Is it?
yeah.
And yeah, we had quite the heat wave this past weekend.
Nice, but you were telling me off air that you were doing some just walking around the city and hanging out with Marty.
Yeah, I was cruising.
Well.
Yeah, I was cruising on foot. Yeah, man, just been walking a lot. I was able to walk to an In-N-Out Sunday night. It was like 80 degrees at 9:00 at night. And we just walked down to the water, and it felt a lot like Monterey. It was wild, but that hill, walked all the way down high.
Quite a hill.
Quite a hill. I apologize, Shawnee. I feel like there's a bit of lag, so I hope I'm not cutting you off.
Oh no, it's cool. It's cool. What did you order at In-N-Out? What's Joey Parati
double, no onion. And I got Marty an unsalted pup patty, which you can do. I don't know if everyone knows you can do that. You can get your dog an unsalted patty.
What?
Yeah, that's what I did.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's quite good. Quite good that.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Cool, man. Cool. Anything else going on with you, Joey?
You know. I want to say yes. I do. I got to see our good friend of the show, Andrew Hopkins, Friday night. Went down to Monterey this past weekend. Forgot all about Saturday. Went down to Monterey. Yeah, just for like the afternoon. Crema, my favorite brunch spot in Pacific Grove, apparently closed. Their last day was Sunday, so I was like, got to get one last crema in. Got to see my good buddy Noah down there. Him and his wife just got a house, so it was good to see him and catch up. And then spent Sunday with my lady at the beach and Marty, and it was very nice. So yeah, kind of a well-rounded weekend.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah.
Cool, man. Cool.
Yeah. There definitely is some lag, so I apologize if.
No, you're good. You're good. Our internets are. It's always a thing, man.
I'm gonna turn off my Apple TV is still kind of going, so let's put that sucker to sleep. I like the background of it. Turning Wi-Fi off on my phone, and we're gonna make this show. I mean, even with all the lag, it's gonna run a lot smoother than the presidential debate.
Yeah.
I think our listeners can agree on that.
That was pretty rough, man. Just watching.
This is how fucking rough this debate was.
Ooh. Yeah, I feel you on that.
Holy shit!
Woo!
That was a wild debate, man.
Yeah, that was. I didn't get a chance to catch the first few minutes. Because we were talking off air.
I missed the first part.
Yeah, I was like, oh shoot! Like I just realized it was a debate today too, and then you texted me and we're like, hey, we want to do, should we just watch this right now and then we can talk later or do the podcast later? And man, I was watching with my roommate, and it's just there's no words can come to my aid right now on describing this debate. So
the bummer is they both kind of like. Not as bad as Trump, but Biden kind of sunk to his level a little bit, like as bad as you want to call him a clown, don't call him a clown. Don't do, you know what I mean? Like you're kind of just, I want him to rise above. I want him to, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
Not give any ammo to the other side. Being like, oh, he does it too. You know what I mean? Trump was way worse. I'm glad that the moderator was calling him out on it.
Yeah.
But the commentator, as soon as the debate was over, this guy goes on a spiel about, blah, blah, blah. We won't know the results for some time, but if I may give my professional opinion, I have been moderating debates, covering debates, watching debates, part of debates for over 40 years, and that was the worst debate I've ever seen in my life.
No way.
Just, yeah.
Oh man.
Worst debate I've ever seen in my life.
I mean, dude, it was just like Trump is just like, it was like watching, I mean, it's watching like a high school debate, man. Like he was like a kid, like, and I did,
bully.
As far as Biden is concerned, like, at least he was able to at least address the American people and try not to get all this Trump energy in his way. And, I think at least he was able to at least, say something that would, that hopefully the American people want to hear. So
yeah, I don't know. The whole American people thing is kind of bullshit. You know what I mean? Like
yeah,
they're prepped for TV. This is a PR thing. You know what I mean? It's nothing other than that. But I mean, I agree with you. He was able to articulate himself much better than Trump, but not astoundingly better. You know what I mean? At least I didn't feel like that. And not a Trump guy. Just want to put that out there. Not defending him at all. I want to see this dude fall. But I'm wary. I think he is a juggernaut. I don't think Biden can stop him. But I hope I'm wrong. I'm gonna vote, and
yeah, it's
but I don't know.
I don't know, man. Biden was stumbling his words a little bit, and it's like,
He
I know
do that.
That's the thing I'm thinking about too. He's a lot older, and we're just gonna have to see what the rest of the debates are gonna show more as far as what's on the minds of the future presidents. It's shocking, man. I mean, just like watching that for an hour, it's just like, and I mean, this is the next 4 years of like, presidency too, and what's gonna happen.
Well, it's been made acceptable. This behavior has been made acceptable because like there can always be another Trump. Like Kanye could run if you actually want, or someone like him could do that now. You know what I mean? Like the president has been set, and it's a new game. It's a brand new game, and someone's going to figure it out. I feel like the Dems kind of nominating Biden, it feels too old school. Trump is it's a new game. They need someone like I feel like Obama could have taken on Trump. Biden, you know what I mean? It doesn't feel, I don't know. I don't know enough about politics to truly comment on it, but that was wild. That was fucking wild. Yeah. Holy shit.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
It's wild, but also rough. Just like, I can't believe I'm watching this right now. And like, this dude is our president. This guy possibly might be our next president. And just I guess I'll leave it.
It's not good.
It's not good. We don't get too political on the show, but
no.
Yeah, this is gonna be a very important election, though, right? So,
and the thought of the results dragging out, you know what I mean? Like I do remember the night Trump was elected, and I'm sitting on my couch, and I was very stoned, and I remember just watching the Hillary's picture and his picture and the numbers just fluctuating, and it became clear that he was going to win. I just felt myself melting into the couch, just going, "Oh God, oh God, oh God," and woke my then wife at the time. It's like, "Hey, Trump's president. Trump won." She's like, "Fuck off! Don't wake me up for this." I'm like, "I'm serious." She's like, "I'm going back to sleep." I was like, "All right," just like is there any part of you, and I want our imaginary listeners to think about this as well, Is there any small part of you that kind of wants him reelected? To keep watching, because it's horrifying. It is awful. It is disgusting. God damn it. It is entertaining, right? Like,
Yeah, it's a
it
strange
is.
it's a strange thought about that. I don't know, man.
It's
I
a
feel
it's a
like,
train wreck. You're watching
yeah,
just this like
I think the worst part of that would be like, obviously, hurting the American,
oh yeah,
people,
no.
and obviously
It's not
fucking,
the
if we have
outcome we
another
want.
war or something, like, God forbid, like that shit happens, like we somehow get into some crazy war or something, you know what I mean?
With who?
Who knows, man? Who knows?
Well, fuck.
But I mean, having someone, what I'm saying is, having someone like Trump as the
I
president,
know.
and
I
being
know.
all fast fired, and kind of making decisions on, just that, yeah, that's praying for something bad to happen in a larger scale, and it's happening right now with this fucking pandemic, man,
Oh yeah.
and how, how they're handling that. And then, of course,
I'm amazed.
not answering any questions during that debate too, which is
Oh,
so
especially around his
infuriating.
taxes and all that bullshit.
Infuriating, man.
Dude. Well, he's not condemning white supremacists. Dude, all you
That
got to say
shit
is
too,
absolutely
man.
not.
And climate change too,
Instead, he
man.
said,
All
Proud
that shit.
Boys, stand back and stand by. Are you fucking kidding me? That's your message to white supremacists? Stand back and stand by? Jesus. Jesus.
Yeah. I don't want to stand behind. I don't want that. I don't want to stand behind that.
Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
Mm-mm.
Well, I'm feeling that, Jameson. Not gonna lie.
Yeah.
But it was needed after that shit, man.
Yeah,
Jesus.
man. Yeah. So, well, yeah, maybe we'll talk about the next debate, and see. It's gonna be in the next few. Yeah, I mean, it's October,
Yeah.
pretty much around the corner. So, I mean, the election's
And
gonna
hopefully
happen.
by that time, I'll have some art up on the wall.
Hey.
I'm still figuring the space out. It's a weird. I should probably get a light, another light here. I have one little light on my desk, and it's not enough to illuminate me while we have these discussions, as we found out on the Debatable podcast. So I've got this light going out because this is just too much light. This is flooding me, flooding. I kind of like this light, but it's weird. You see my bed, you see where I sleep, you see where I hang my head. Maybe if I had some art on the wall, there's a couple of nope, some whiteboards right there that you can't see. But yeah,
Dude, awesome.
that's a rant. It's been bothering me looking at this
Do you have
screen.
any art that you already have that you're gonna put up there, or are you kind of
But
waiting
most of
to?
the art that I do have a series by Sean Phillips that my folks got me for my birthday, and it's all signed by Sean Phillips, and they're like bombshells movie starlets from the 40s. So like
Oh, cool.
Veronica Lake and Rita Hayworth, and there's two others, but it's and so there's a set of four, and I would like to get all four of them framed and do them on the side wall. I don't know yet what to do on the back wall above my head. I don't know if I should put like a sun or like a moon or something larger than life, or if I want to keep to pop art and things like that. I don't know. I'm still trying to figure these things out. Who am I? I don't know. I don't know.
What do I
I
do?
don't know right now. Who am I? Oh,
I'm kind of struggling even in this room I'm in, right? I have my, like, the hoverboard picture, but I
I
have
like
some
that
other
hoverboard.
stuff that's just like, because I have these sound panels and they kind of take up wall space, but I just don't know where, like, I want to hang more stuff up, but just kind of a weird orientation for my room too. And you definitely want
Yeah,
to, when you have a art piece or whatever and you want to put it up, you definitely want to highlight it, right? Have it in a place where you can view it and see it and show people and all that kind of stuff. So,
I want to buy a little light that illuminates from the bottom.
hey, oh yeah, that's cool.
You
I've
know,
seen people put
yeah.
LED strips
I
too.
don't really want to do it.
It's
Oh,
cool.
that could be dope.
You can change in different
I like
colors.
that.
Yeah.
This is so. Yeah, I wanted to get one of those smart bulbs, but you got to. And the person who lived here last left a smart bulb in this light over here, so I had one. But I didn't know that you need what's called a bridge for it, because
Is it a?
I've never owned a smart bulb before. It's a Philips Hue.
Oh, Hue, yeah.
and you need like a bridge or something so that you plug in and then that connects and kind of, I guess, talks to the device, talks to the light bulb,
Got you.
and
Yeah.
talks to your phone. It's a middleman. I thought you could just search for a light bulb on your phone and then like control it there.
Yeah. Some
um
companies do that. I think maybe that particular light bulb, it might need the hub, but
mm,
I have like a LED strip just on this back here on this wall, and
yeah,
like I think it's via Bluetooth you can like connect to it. It's really crazy. You can do either Wi-Fi or Bluetooth,
nice.
and then you can change like the colors on your phone, which is super cool. But
Love that.
yeah, those are cool lights, man. Set up the vibes too.
Share those with me.
Yeah,
Send
I
them my
will.
way.
I will
Right on.
actually.
Thank you.
They're not Hue lights. That's the only thing you have to figure out. Like, if I want to buy like a set, or like what company you're using or what the device is, because then you'll have to connect them all through the app. But if you use like, like, so this one's not like a Hue light, but there's a whole bunch of options for lights too, and I think they're cheaper too, which is cool. Gosh,
Wonderful. We love cheap.
we're talking about lights and fucking
Talking home things, home ownership things. Yes. Yes.
Oh man. All right, Joey. Aside from the presidential debates, is there anything else kind of
Fuck.
pop culture-ish? No,
Just
there's
let's
nothing
just get
going
into some
on.
lists. I feel so
Yeah,
dirty talking about these debates.
I feel
I just
you,
want to
dude.
feel warm and at home, and I want to talk lists with you. Honestly, Jonathan, would you like to go first? Would you like me to go first?
Um, you go first, Joey. You go first.
I'll go first, man. All right, Jonathan. I was thinking about it, like, we've only had a few of these, but in fact, we've had quite a few of these. What are your top five? I was watching, preface to this, I was watching The Boys the other night, I believe Friday night. If you're not watching The Boys on Amazon, it's pretty good.
It's pretty
Pretty
good.
good, but it's a hard R-rated comic book
Comic book.
adaptation. And made me think, what other R-rated? Everyone kind of cites Deadpool, but Deadpool was not the first. So, Jonathan, what are your top five R-rated comic book movies?
All right, here we go, guys. I've got for number 5, Darkman, which is
One more time. Sorry, you cut out.
oh, Darkman.
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 I'm going to give it to you. It's not
um.
technically a comic book, but I'm going to give that to you.
Oh shoot. Okay. I thought it was a comic
That's
book
the
for a
Sam
second.
Raimi original, baby.
Dude,
He
really?
he that is, I mean, it is a comic book film, absolutely, through and through. But that's an original concept. It's not based off anything. That's, I believe, what got him the job for Spider-Man. But I'm going to give it to you.
Got you.
It would have been on my list as well.
Okay.
Love that pick. Love
Oh,
that pick.
that's super cool to know. That was his
Yeah.
original Genesis. But yeah, I mean, yeah, Darkman. Yeah, Sam Raimi obviously directed it, and it was especially for the time, I guess, when it came out. It was a very interesting movie about this character, and I think what's amazing about it is there is a lot of even when I watch, like, when you think Sam Raimi, there's just so much of Sam Raimi's directing and kind of visual storytelling in the movie, and like seeing like Liam Neeson played the Darkman himself. Yeah, it's just like
He's
such a
very good.
he's very good, and it's like at
He's
times
very
I'm like,
good.
that doesn't even seem like Liam Neeson, and that's kind of before he was in all these like other crazy movies he got really popular for. But yeah, I don't know. It's a really interesting kind of, I guess, superhero movie or comic book movie in a way. And I think the visual, like the Sam Raimi's kind of thumbprint on that, and just how he's able to kind of tell that story and kind of give you what this character is going through, and maybe some of what am I trying to say here? Yeah, I don't know. It's just good character storytelling, I think, for Darkman. So yeah,
Yeah. It's a very
Darkman.
cool look.
And
It's
it
that
looks,
post Batman Burton 89,
it does have
that
that,
kind of,
yeah, that kind of
yeah,
DNA in it a little bit. So yeah,
absolutely.
Darkman. And I gotta see,
Love it. There's
I've,
oh,
I was gonna
go
say,
for it.
I haven't seen it recently, so I kind of want to put it on and just take it, give it a watch again.
It's so good. There's a Twitter account. I'm going to look it up so I can give them a proper shout. but it's called Dark. They're at Darkman Frames, so they're
Okay.
going Darkman frame by frame, posting a single frame of Darkman.
Really?
I believe a
Whoa.
day. Yeah, a frame from the movie Darkman every 30 minutes. Excuse me. And they've been out this for quite a while. It's pretty
Wow.
cool.
Okay.
So, and they've only got 286 followers. These guys are doing the Lord's work, and they deserve your followership. So, at Darkman Frames on Twitter.
Yay.
In fact, Top Five Pod is going to retweet them right now. This is we
On
have to
air.
incorporate on air. This is happening, and I looked it up on my personal. You can check me out. Joey Brody. Darkman Frames. We can edit this. We won't edit this though. Um, people, yes, there we go. Follow. Wonderful. I wasn't following him from top five pods. I am now. Um, all right, doing the Lord's work. Give these guys a follow.
There you go.
You know, just
That's an
we just
interesting
we,
concept for a page or Instagram page is
isn't that great?
posting every frame from a movie. Um, yeah, I wonder how many frames that is for the movie, or how many posts that's going to be by the end of it.
Well, let's think about this for a second. Hold on. All right, this is going to require some math. All right. Jonathan, I was in remedial math. How are you? How did
I
you
am
fare?
terrible at math,
You're
man.
terrible at math. Okay, well,
I wouldn't say that, but I
Darkman
specialize in other things.
is an hour and 36 minutes long. So that is 96 minutes. We're going to need a calculator for this. Film, and especially because that was actually shot on film, because that is before digital. Digital is 29 point something frames per second. They round it to 30. Film is 24 frames per second. So we have 96 minutes times 60 seconds times 24. That is 138,240 frames.
That's a lot of posts. Are they there? Is there a record for like how many posts on Instagram? That's the most
That's
random.
just Twitter.
Oh, Twitter. Sorry, Twitter.
Twitter.
Yeah. Is there? I'm sure there's got to be someone out there that has like the record for that.
Right? You would think. I don't
That's
know.
that's a great concept, though. I think that's very cool, and it obviously sheds light on the movie and the appreciation, I think, for the movie as well. If you're going frame by frame, posting this thing, and I think that's
Yeah.
interesting because you're dissecting the movie frame by frame, so you're seeing moments happen and maybe things you
Yeah.
might not have seen watching the movie.
It's pretty. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. Honestly, it's what a cool project. But
Cool,
yeah,
dude, that's awesome. I'll follow
yeah,
him as well.
love it.
Love it.
All right, good number 5. Good pick right off the bat. Here we
Number
go.
5, y'all. Woo-hoo.
Here we go.
All right, here we go. Number 4. I've got Deadpool. I know you said it's like maybe it's on the list, but yeah, this was. We all came into the movie knowing it was gonna be rated R, and seeing that was at the test screening of Ryan Reynolds doing Deadpool, and it was just that, and I think part of that scene or the scene was incorporated into the
It's the
actual
highway chase.
the
Yeah.
highway chase scene in the movie. So that was the kind of test screening we got, and the powers of the internet, of course, we all got to see it. And yeah, it was, I was peaked from watching that, and the movie, it, of course, is 10 times more than that, as far as just that, or it echoes that kind of spirit within that little clip we got. And yeah, I didn't know too much about Deadpool from a comic books standpoint. I didn't read the comics, so this was someone who was an average audience member watching the film and kind of seeing what this is. But I know a few things about like, oh, it's a merc with a mouth, and like these little things like, oh, he's supposed to be like this character he just breaks the fourth wall. So there's like these things that I kind of knew up front, and that's what I enjoyed so much about this film was like the breaking the fourth wall and the brutal action and just like, and then obviously incorporating X-Men, and I know that was an interesting way how they were able to kind of go around all the legalities and stuff, and they actually acknowledge that in the film itself. Like
Yeah.
it was very meta for its time, for what it was, and I think it's probably one of my favorite yeah rated R comic book movies.
It's very good. It's
It's
very
good.
funny. Yeah.
It's a good watch. It's a good watch, and it's not
Surprisingly sweet.
so convoluted with a bunch of stuff. It gets very straight to the point, and I think I love how it kind of makes fun of itself because that's what the character Deadpool is, and it gives you this kind of different experience with that. So yeah.
Yeah.
So
Wonderful.
number 4, Deadpool.
Love it.
I hope this is a comic too. I believe it is. It's number 3, Kingsman: The Secret Service.
That is.
Just recently watched this one in preparation for Rocket Man, funny enough.
Wait, you just watched The Kingsman?
No, I've seen Kingsman, but I wanted to rewatch it just to kind of get back into yeah, I always forget his name.
Taron Egerton.
Taron Egerton. But yeah, so Kingsman: Secret Service, very interesting take on the classic spy film.
Yes.
Of course, it was definitely rated R and very different from, I think, traditional spy films like James Bond and even Mission Impossible. I know there's a lot of action, and that's what they do. They have a lot of different amazing sequences in the movie, but also it's a good story of this young man becoming part of the Kingsman service, and it's just got a really cool story to it, and great actors in it too. Michael Caine makes an appearance in it. Who else is in it? Samuel L. Jackson is in this one.
He's
plays the villain. Yeah, it's super.
Mark Hamill is in this movie.
Mark Hamill's in it. Like,
yeah,
there's so many people in this movie. But and especially I think this was my introduction to Taron Egerton. So it was very interesting to see him obviously rise up to the role and play this this young man who is as at the start of the movie kind of an outcast, or maybe wouldn't have fit the model as a spy, but he has obviously a connection with the Kingsmen, and he is able to kind of earn his way to the Kingsman service. So but it's just wild. It's a wild ride too. There's a lot of just interesting things in the movie, and yeah, it's an enjoyable film.
It's a good time. It's
Good time.
It strikes the tone I wish most comic book movies would strike.
Yeah, good balance right there.
Yeah.
So Kingsman for number 3. Number 2, Kick-Ass.
Right on. Okay. Another Matthew Vaughn flick.
Yeah, another as well. Yeah, Matthew Vaughn. So maybe that's why I do like the kind of similar to sorry. What's this other one? What else did Matthew Vaughn direct?
He did X-Men First Class.
First Class.
Done,
That's the one. Yeah. So I like how I like Matthew Vaughn. I like watching movies that are made through the scope of Matthew Vaughn and his his kind of vision for how things are supposed to kind of look. And I think it's very, especially for Kick-Ass, taking this kind of the, again, similar to, I would feel like, even Deadpool and Kingsman, his two other Kingsman, his other film, it's kind of not making fun of the genre that it is, but just kind of acknowledging it and seeing like, okay, this is how it would play out kind of like, in reality. And like, this can someone be a superhero, especially for the Kick-Ass film. It's like, that's kind of like anyone can kind of pick up the superhero mantle and, without powers, and just become a superhero and try to fight for justice. And, I think they do a good, they do very well to like explain that and to like show that through the eyes of some of these characters in the movie. And also very humorous and again with a lot of grandiose, like very it's very big still as far as like a comic book movie with like action and different things happening, but again it still centers around the characters and their kind of interactions with each other. So yeah, I love Kick-Ass, man. It's
It's
a
good
fun
time.
film. And yeah, Matthew Vaughn, of course, delivering some really good comic book movies. So yeah,
Hell yeah.
Kick-Ass. And my number one is going to be Logan today. I really enjoyed this. I actually watched this one recently as well. And I freaking love Hugh Jackman as the Wolverine. I just can't see anyone else playing him. We are probably going to get that reality in the future as far as someone else playing Wolverine, but I don't know. It was a very and it, my only thing with this movie, and I guess this would be my only negative about it, is they could have gone harder on the R rating as far as what they were doing in the film. I know some pretty gruesome scenes in the movie, but yeah, I feel like they could have went a little bit more on there,
Well,
especially.
they just threw in fucks and shits, and like, and the violence wasn't particularly interesting. Like, it was bloody, but it wasn't, like when you watch Winter Soldier, you know, Captain America is doing things with his shield that you've never even thought that he could do. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? And it recontextualizes. You're like, oh my god, that is sick. Um, and with this one, he just kept popping dudes in the face with his claws, and it's like we've seen that
yeah,
for 17 years now. Get a little more creative with the things that he can do with those claws. You know what I mean? To
exactly,
me,
man.
that yeah, it just felt like it's the same movies you've always been seeing, but people say fuck and there's blood or
Yeah,
more blood,
yeah.
and
It
yeah,
definitely
it
could have.
wasted the R rating, I think.
Yeah, it could have definitely. And it's like, I mean, yeah, that's what I wanted to see for sure. And honestly, I still like that's why it's my number one. I still enjoyed the story and what they were able to put the character of Logan, and we have Patrick Stewart returning as Professor X, as this kind of obviously an older Professor X who's losing his he's getting older and losing part of his powers, and that kind of, it was great to see those aspects of the characters because now we've lived with them in some of these other films. And it was actually great to see Professor X and like Wolverine together in that movie too as well, and just like seeing their interactions with each other and kind of showing the history of them. But aside from that, like, yeah, it's one of my favorite rated R comic book movies, dude. So
Right on. Good
yeah,
list, Shawnee. I'm happy and surprised that Joker did not make your list.
I was gonna put it on there, and I know that was my one for like movies of this last year, but um, yeah, I don't know. I just these movies again, like the Joker, like is just it's an intense film too, and I can only watch so much of that, and with these
Yeah.
films, I feel like I could put this on again at any time and still thoroughly enjoy it and have fun, and then also be very invested in the story and everything. And that's always what counts for my top fives. It's just something that I like to watch. Not maybe not all the time or consistently, but when you put it on, you always get the same kind of feeling when you first watched it. So
Love it.
yeah,
Very
Joey.
good.
Yeah, I
Yes.
want to hear your top five.
All right. Well, I had Kick Ass at 5, but I'm gonna strike it
Okay,
since
okay.
you had Kick Ass because we do have one more overlap, which I'm not gonna move. Um, but I'll not Kick Ass from its throne, and I will slide in maybe kind of a cheat. I don't know. I don't think so. Daredevil, the director's cut. Um,
Oh, okay.
I am one of the few people I liked Daredevil in the theater. I was also in seventh grade, um, but I thought it was quality. It's a good B picture. That's how kind of I view it now. You know what I mean? It's so over the top. It's so operatic, but like in a B movie kind of way,
Yeah,
and it's
yeah,
fun. You've got Mike Clark Duncan as Kingpin, and he's awesome. Ben Affleck is you know, you've got Colin Farrell in one of his first. Like that
Yeah,
summer was the summer of Colin Farrell. It was he was in American Outlaws. I
he
forget
was
what
in a
else he was in.
lot of
He was in a
movies that
lot of stuff.
year.
Just
Yeah,
boom, right at the top. Jennifer Garner. It's a fun, and Jon Favreau is Foggy is so good.
yeah.
But there's a whole um, plot line, which is them in the courtroom defending someone that was cut that earned the R rating, and the person they're defending, I believe, is Coolio.
Coolio, dude.
So that he makes it in the director's cut, and the violence and the language ups it to an R rating. But
Oh, okay.
yeah, pretty
Interesting.
good, pretty good that
I
movie.
actually really like that movie too.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's definitely, yeah, you could see it, and maybe now we have the Daredevil TV show to compare it to, and
Daredevil
but
TV shows tops. Yeah,
it's tops, yeah. So yeah, I don't know. I still love that movie. I mean, it'll be interesting to watch it, and see how I feel about it these days. But
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. I don't know that it holds up, but yeah. Number 4, I'm gonna go Ghost World.
Ooh, Ghost World. I don't think I've seen
So
this
this
one.
is Tora Birch and Scarlett Johansson, and they're like high school friends, and it's that summer after they've graduated. And Tora Birch is kind of a misanthrope, lost character, and Scarlett Johansson is dead set on getting a job and getting them the apartment, blah, blah, blah. And Tora Birch is just kind of wandering, and she strikes up an unlikely friendship with Steve Buscemi,
Oh, okay.
who is a weird kind of recluse record collector. And yeah, it's just kind of one of those movies about growing pains and growing up, and you know, kind of having to kind of strike out on your own.
Okay.
And yeah, it's a good watch. It's a good flick. And I forget, it's the late 90s, early 2000s, but it has that feeling
Mhm.
from that time period, and it'll bring you back a little bit. You know,
Okay. All right.
yeah.
Ghost World.
Ghost World. Number 3, V for Vendetta.
Ooh, you know what? That should be my
Remember,
list.
remember the 5th of November. Um, it's so, I like the movie gets a bad rap that, oh, the book's better. Well, of course the book is better. But I like the movie, and I like the changes that they made to the movie. And I like the book for what it is, but the book is dense as fuck. It's Alan Moore. You can't truly, translate that.
Mhm.
Um, the book is crazy. Like the cop hunting V or whatever, like takes mushrooms at one of those like old testing sites, and that's how he like tracks him down. It's wild.
What?
Yeah, they like that's not in the movie, and good, it shouldn't be. But yeah, V for Vendetta is. I really enjoy this movie. I really enjoy all the performances. I love the message. Um, and it's cool. It's stylized. It was, kind of. It felt at the time very different, very, kind of ballsy. Um, I think it's a great movie. I always forget that it exists, and when I remember that it exists, I'm like, fuck yeah, that's a great movie. It's a good movie. Um, V for Vendetta. Hugo Weaving, Natalie
Oh,
Portman. Come
yeah.
on,
Great cast
come on.
too. Yeah.
Yeah. Number 2, Kingsman: The Secret Service. I love Kingsman.
Hey,
I
nice.
love Kingsman. Kingsman's great. You kind of said it all. I don't need to really elaborate. They're wonderful films, and you should check out both of them. The second one isn't as good, but which sequel is? There we go.
There you go.
Number 1. I'm surprised this didn't make your list. I'm a little hurt. Sin City.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
Yeah, yeah,
It's been a minute since I've seen that one too.
yeah. I don't know if this still holds up, but man, this might have been the first R-rated comic book movie that I got to see, like in theaters and everything. And we went for my birthday. I remember that. And yeah, it's a great. I love the first Sin City movie. The second movie is trash, um, but that first one is so good, And they really, I don't think there has been a more faithful comic to film adaptation. Like
Yeah.
Robert Rodriguez literally and Frank Miller literally took panels from the page and put them on screen.
Mhm.
and pretty awesome, pretty cool. That
It's a cool movie, man. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
The colors, or the way they're also trying to make it like the panels, right, with
Hmm.
the colors and the very like stark black backgrounds, and it was a very interesting movie to watch and see that kind of come to life. um yeah, man. Sin
Yeah,
City, dude. I remember Sin City. Gosh, yeah, I haven't seen that one in a minute, dude. And there was a second one, right?
yeah. Damn to Kill For. Yeah.
I probably
I
should
watched.
get on the
It
list.
made me think of it the other night. I watched Once Upon a Time in Mexico,
Ooh. Oh man, that's a good one
and
too.
Mickey Rourke is in that. It made
Yeah,
me think of them working together again on Sin City,
that's cool,
or
dude.
maybe that's where they worked together first. I don't know. I don't know the timeline,
Yo,
but there we
man.
go. Yeah,
I like your list, dude. That was like, again,
I like your list, dude.
I know every week we're still trying to figure out like lists every week because we have so many now, and we're also reaching our 200th episode as well, guys. So we're gonna have something
Which we'll
special
talk
for you.
about.
Yes. But yeah, I am glad that each week I feel like I'm able to take something away from some of these lists, and kind of like, I haven't thought about Sin City in I don't know how long. Like, I haven't seen that in a while, so maybe I'll have to pop that
It's
on
because
too.
you're a normal fucking functioning member of society, and I'm
Yeah.
not.
Oh, it's just there's a lot of stuff out there, man.
There is
A lot of
too much.
options.
Too
Too
much.
much, y'all. All right, Joey. This is my top five for tonight.
Hit me with it.
We're still on movies right here, so it's top five. What are your top five movie lines?
This is tough.
There's so many good ones
This
too.
is I spout so many lines just in my everyday life. Like most of my vocabulary is made up from movie lines. That's fine. Um, so this was difficult, and I went with the ones that kind of, if I thought of them first, obviously, like they've risen to the top. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'm gonna start with a writer director whose writing has been very influential on me. His sense of dialogue feels very realistic and at the same time otherworldly. And that is Kevin Smith. And I'm pulling from Clerks when Randall says, "This job would be great if it wasn't for the fucking customers." Um, it's a great line. You can put it in a trailer um, without the fucking, obviously. And you know what that movie is about. You know what that character is about.
Yeah.
And, especially when I was working, my jobs in college and whatever, man, job would have been great if it wasn't for the fucking customers. You know what I mean? That line just holds so much truth, um, especially if you've ever had customers. You know what I mean? So there you go.
Hey, nice. Pull from
Yeah,
Clerks.
pulling from Clags.
Okay.
Number 4. I'm gonna cheat. I'm gonna
Okay.
put 2
Oh, it's all good.
because
All good.
it's two sides of the same coin. You got to have both.
Okay.
What would a list of mine be without Batman and the Joker? So
Ooh.
obviously, I'm gonna go with I'm Batman from Batman '89. This movie, I was showing it to Alicia the other night. It's maybe the most important movie of my life. You know, I saw it as an infant. It's one of my first ever movies that I can remember. It's the only movie I can remember watching in my first house where we first lived. You know what I mean? Like it's been with me since I was born, pretty much. And obviously, I'm a gigantic Batman fan and all that shit. So that whole opening scene of the bat, come on, and I'm not going to kill you. I want you to do me a favor. I want you to tell all your friends about me. What are you? I'm Batman. Boom. Oh my God. How badass is that? How wonderful is that? Anyway, um, and slash the Joker, but I'm taking Joker from Dark Knight. Anytime he says, "You want to know why," or "You want to know how," you want to know how I got these scars? Is it the scars? You want to know how I got them? But the part in the prison cell when he goes, "Do you want to know why I use a knife? Guns are too quick. You can't savor all the little emotions." Like that is, fuck, it's so good. It's so good. It's so good. Anyway,
It's good.
the Joker writing in Dark Knight is some of my favorite writing of any character ever. It's really good. It's really well done. They nail Joker in the most subtle, fucking perfect, beautiful way. Love it. Anyway, moving on. Number 3. I gotta get a Scorsese one in here, and I wrestled with myself. Am I doing Taxi Driver? Am I doing Departed? Departed has is one of the most quotable movies like of the last 20 years. And sneakily too. You never think about it, but there's so many good lines in Departed. But the one line from his filmography. Oh shit! Fuck.
Oh, we have it.
There's the line in Mean Streets. No, there's the line in Mean Streets that I feel like sums up his entire filmography, which is you don't make up for your sins in church, you do it on the street. The rest is bullshit, and you know it. That's a great line, and it sums up his entire filmography. But the line that I'm going to go with is one day the kids from the neighborhood carried my mom's groceries all the way home. You know why? It was out of respect. Sometimes,
Goodfellas, y'all.
Dude, you wasted 8 fucking napkins on that guy. Goodfellas is I don't know what to say, except whenever I think about Goodfellas, I want to turn it on. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, man.
Um,
It's there's a lot of good dialogue and a lot of good scenes in that movie.
yeah.
Like you could, it's definitely a quotable movie if you can dive deeper into that. But
yeah. Anyway, not gonna get too deep into that because it'd be too easy. So, and we've talked about it a lot. We've talked about Goodfellas a lot on this program. Number 2, I'm gonna go with an oldie. I'm gonna go with The Third Man.
Okay.
So there's a line where Joseph Cotton's character, Holly Martin's, he arrives in war-torn Vienna to meet his friend Harry Lime, who he finds out who just died. So he goes to the funeral, and then this police officer gives him a place to stay at this hotel. He's checking into the hotel, and he meets this guy, blah, blah, blah. And the guy goes, "Oh, what are you doing in Vienna?" And he goes, "I came here. My friend offered me a job, but he died." "Who's your friend?" Or he goes, "My friend offered me a job, but he died." "Oh, goodness, that's awkward." And the line that Holly Martin says to that is that what you say to people after death? Goodness, that's awkward. The more I think about that line, the funnier it becomes. And I hope someday I get to say that to someone. Is that what you say to people after death? Goodness, that's awkward. One of my favorite lines in all of moviedom. Yeah.
Third Man. Yeah, we know you have a personal connection to Third Man too, as well, man.
I love The Third Man.
So it's still on your top 5 all time.
It's in my top 5. Yeah,
all time, right there.
Yeah,
untouched.
And number 1, you could probably guess what this is.
Oh, I don't know.
What came first, music or the misery? People worry about kids playing with guns or watching violent videos, that some sort of culture of violence will take them over. Nobody worries about kids listening to literally thousands of songs about heartbreak, rejection, pain, misery, and loss. Did I listen to pop music because I was miserable? Or was I miserable because I listened to pop music?
What a great
High fidelity, baby.
What a great line.
To open your movie with that. Like, that is up there with Bruce Campbell talking about the Necronomicon Ex Mortis. You know what I mean? And just laying out the fucking movie for you. You know who that character is. You know what maturity level he's at. You know what is important to him and how his scope into his world. Um, and it's a great line. It's a great line. Um, yeah,
Dude,
there you go.
it's interesting when you think about like lines in movies, because that's you kind of connect it to your, obviously your love, or um your kind of connection to the movie, right? And I think that's always, I feel like some of the lines here are like, oh, these are movies like I enjoy watching, and you kind of replay those scenes in your head, or you can think of it, and those kind of things come to mind. So um yeah, dude, I like the list.
Yeah, this was
It's
hard. I tried pulling from Clockwork Orange and
Yeah, well, that's the tough part. It's like the very, I guess, compared to my list, it's like stuff that's like, oh, like the phrase was kind of like made me feel a specific way when it was said by that
oh
character,
yeah,
or and it's and some of the films, like, they're not like in my top like films of all time, but I remember like how it made me feel when like the character delivered that line, and it's like, oh, it feels like, whoa, this is what's happening to this person now. And that's what's great about like lines, and how they're, the writing in some films. So um man, yeah, my list is,
I'm excited to hear yours.
it's all sorts of different stuff. Some stuff is pretty obvious, like I know we have some of our kind of our favorite films in there, you know what I mean? So this one's gonna be kind of a funny enough, kind of a shout out to my dad, because like I know one of his favorite films is Field of Dreams, and
Ooh.
watching Field of Dreams, there's the line, "If you build it, he will come." Um, and I remember when I think it was like when we first got like a DVD player in our house, and I remember my dad got a few DVDs, obviously, to watch, and A Field of Dreams was one of them. And I know that's kind of the staple line in the movie, but when, of course, that's kind of like by the end of the film, spoilers if you guys haven't seen it, Kevin Costner's character reunites with, he plays catch with his dad, who's pretty much, he passed away, and he was able to kind of connect with him as a ghost, apparently. But that was kind of this thing that was said throughout the film. If you build it, he will come. And he, Kevin Costner's character, builds this obviously this baseball field in the middle of a cornfield, and starts to invite other kind of ghosts, baseball players, to play there. And thinking like, oh, this is, people will come, all these other ghosts will come. But at the end, it truly means, his father will eventually be there, and he will eventually be able to connect with his father, back with him. So um it's definitely a powerful line, and it really kind of shows, as far as the reuniting of those two characters. And yeah, there we go. I was trying to think
That
what
is
that.
a beautiful moment. I love when he
It's a
says,
very,
"Dad,
yeah, it's very
you want to
good.
have a catch?" Fuck,
See, like,
I
that's a
lose
good
my
line too.
shit.
There's a lot of good lines
Yeah,
there, but yeah, it was definitely a cool movie. So yeah, number 5, Field of Dreams.
love it.
Number 4, I just watched I watched this like maybe like 2 weeks ago. I watched Forrest Gump, uh, and he goes, "Mom always said, stupid is as the stupid does." So I don't know. There's a lot of great lines in this film, and I just love it when he says this line, because it's just great. The character Forrest Gump, and just like what he goes through, and um, the I wouldn't say rags to riches, but like the story of him and his growth, and not being.
Getting cucked by Jenny and
Yeah, yeah. um yeah, I mean, it's an interesting film. There's a lot of different things happening. I could say all sorts of different lines from this, box of chocolates or whatever, but yeah, I don't know, I always thought this line was interesting, especially coming from someone like Forrest Gump, who may not be may have some uh, mental problems, or he has a disability, but also he has just grown into this, like, this. I mean, this fortunate man who's lived and discovered so many things and has kind of, lived his life to the fullest in a sense. And I just love it when these kind of moments happen where Forrest Gump is kind of talking to these strangers on the street, and he says lines that his mom kind of was taught him, and I think it's again touching in a way. So yeah. Number
Love it.
4. Number 3, I do have a Goodfellas movie on here, or I have a Goodfellas line. I just always remember the Joe Pesci like moment where they're at the table and they're like, and there's Ray Liotta's laughing and they're just having a good time, and he goes, "You're a funny guy," and he's like, "Well, why am I funny? what do I amuse you? Am I a clown or?" And it's just
what Henry? What the fuck is so funny about me?
And it's just, I love how the scene, the tensity, the tenseness in the room just goes. It just gets really tense, and everything, all this fun and games and laughing just slowly kind of goes down, and you could just see how serious Joe Pesci is and his character, and you're like, and you, of course, as an audience member, you're like, well, these two guys are friends. They've been in the same crew and all this kind of stuff, and like, what's going on here? And it's just such a tense moment, and then all of a sudden he goes, they just start laughing. Get the fuck out of here. Yeah,
fuck out of here, Tommy.
Yeah, Tommy. And it's just like this great moment. I mean, obviously it shows so much of the, of course, each character and how they, especially Joe Pesci's character in the movie is as Tommy. Like, yeah, he's such a obviously angry, and he just gets 0 to 100 so quickly. And I think there's a lot of
you believe
scenes,
that scene even though they are friends.
you believe that scene when that happens, because he was shooting a dude in the foot and all this other stuff. And it's interesting because you, at that point too, you think also, it's like, well, will these guys, even though they're joking, will this ever go too far? And eventually it does in some way. But yeah, so Goodfellas for
Love it.
number 3.
Love that it made both our lists.
Very good. This is such a, I love that film.
Endlessly quotable film.
Yes.
Endlessly watchable.
And watchable too, man. For sure. Let's see here. Look at my list here. Okay. I do have a Dark Knight one too. So that's my number 2.
Ooh.
It's a combination of line, but also the scene and the thing that happens after. But the Joker goes, "Want to see a magic trick?" And he puts a pencil on the table, and he just literally slams the dude's face in it the next moment. And he goes, "It's God." And it's just a great moment, especially for Heath Ledger to have this. I mean, I love that scene where it's just like, okay, this is what the Joker's gonna be like. Let's just see what Heath Ledger is gonna bring to this character. And within this one scene, and there are a lot of different things that happen, or even dialogue that happens between the Joker and some of the other characters that really builds his character. And we only get him for one movie, but this scene alone too, where all these gangsters are like, they're all trying to figure out what to do with Batman and all this stuff, and the Joker comes and to their aid, and he's not messing around. So, and it was weird and shocking at the same time, and funny. Like, it just gave me so many different emotions when that happened, and so that's probably why I remember it the most. So yeah,
it checks all those boxes of what a Joker scene should be.
Exactly.
Scary, unpredictable, funny.
Exactly, man.
Yeah, weird.
Yeah, weird too.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's number 2.
Right on.
And then number 1, of course, I'm going to have one of my top 5 movies of all time in this one. So this is my favorite film, Back to the Future. When this baby hits 88 miles per hour, you're going to see some serious shit.
Hell yeah.
Doc Brown to Marty. Yeah. And actually kind of like one of the earlier scenes in the movie. So yeah, him showing him the abilities and capabilities of the flying time machine, the DeLorean. So a lot of great dialogue too in the film. But I always just love the look on Doc Brown's face. And it's like, Doc Brown is such an interesting character because he's like the crazy wild scientist. Somehow he's like a good friend of Marty. And, but they've made, especially with Christopher Lloyd behind the character, they've just made him such a likable character. He's not too crazy or out there to kind of stray away from, but he's also that interesting as a character because you're just kind of drawn to him of the kind of mysteries of what he's gonna tell you about time travel or whatever. And I love this moment because he kind of smirks at Marty and he's like, yeah, check this out. And it's just like a great scene, especially when he's going to show him something very very serious and affecting time travel and showing him proof of time travel, which is probably something that would I would lose my marbles over that stuff. So yeah, man. Hidden 88, man, all the way.
Love it. Hell yeah, dude.
Yeah. There are probably so many other lines that I could have thought of, dude, thinking about it, like, but you know what, I'm glad it does make you think about, like, oh, this is why I like the movie, because of this interaction that happened or this line that was said, and it kind of hit you, and the words are still, the words are very very meaningful in their intent. So
Yeah.
yeah, there you go.
A lot of hard ones to leave off.
I know, man. There's so
Old
many.
Hollywood has so many good lines, dude.
I'm sure.
Casablanca has great lines. Citizen Kane has great lines. What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do?
I could think of a few. You made out with your sister, man. Euro trip.
Oh man, I was just gonna do a Jay and Silent Bob line, but it actually might be too NSFW for this podcast.
I was about to say, man, it could have been like
Yo, baby, you ever have your no. I did think about including what the fuck is the internet?
Maybe this could be a revisited top 5. Like we could do.
It very well could be
a genre of films too, as well. Maybe like comedy films. Maybe I
love that.
A lot of different films like that. So,
man,
fun one. Cool, dude.
Wonderful. Jonathan, do you have anything you'd like to share with our dear, sweet, lovely, imaginary audience this week?
I finally do have something to share, guys.
I
took your advice. I watched Rocket Man the other day.
Tell me about it.
It was great. I really enjoyed it.
It's a good movie.
Don't know too much about Elton John, like in his personal life and stuff. And biopics are interesting because they're I still find them as an adaptation for, like, not everything's there, but
right.
I read that Elton John, when the movie was being developed, obviously they consulted with him, and the story is pretty close to what it's saying, his, as far as his relationship with his family and his dad especially. Yeah, man, it was great. I mean, it was obviously very visual, and Taron Egerton is so captivating, and like again, it's especially with like someone like and I hate to compare, but it's kind of in the same vein because I think the director was the same guy who did Bohemian Rhapsody, right?
Is it the same guy?
I think it's the same guy, dude.
That's wild if it is.
But as far as like biopics and like the characters playing the I could sometimes the characters, they can really disappear into the role, and I feel that Taron Egerton did so well to, even though I don't know too much about Elton John, or I've seen, obviously I know what Elton John looks like, and I've listened to his music. I think it's great to see that, especially someone come from Kingsman, being able to portray Elton John in this light. Obviously, it's a very, I thought it was even more intense than something like Bohemian Rhapsody, as far as his personal life and how that was kind of shown to the audience. And I thought that
they actually went to the R rating.
And they did the R rating, and that's what's interesting about, we're talking about rated R films and tonight, and it definitely had a lot of different, and I know it could be like sex, drugs, and rock and roll, whatever, but some very heavy personal stories that were in this, and especially for his continuous struggle with like drugs and alcohol because of his pretty much failed relationship, I think, with his mom and dad. And it's heartbreaking to see it portrayed in this film, and to see that it, how far it can affect a person. And even as a pop, as someone who's a rock star and has everything at, yeah, one, he has everything at one point as far as his career and everything. But it still can break someone down and still be carried with someone, and that that can be relatable to so many other people, famous or not, or musician or not. I think it was able to touch on some of those topics that may or may not be seen a lot in films, I think. And that's what I found very captivating about it and very interesting. I think I enjoyed it for that reason. I want to get more into Elton John's music and discover more of his music. I think that would be that also gave me that feeling as far as being interested in discovering more of his discography. And it was interesting to see his story and to kind of see that portrayed. But I think that underlying story between him and his just kind of failed relationship with his parents, and that that heartbreaking scene where he gets asked to like visit his dad and he has a new family.
Yeah,
And
and he's like doting. He's a doting dad, and like
yeah, and you could
what?
and you could just see it. And Taron Egerton does such a good job of through his expressions, and you could just tell what he's feeling in those moments. And I found it very visual, and the music, how they incorporated his music into it, I thought was very good. um yeah
And it's like it's you don't see a music biopic utilize music in the way that that movie does,
exactly, man.
and that was
Yeah,
really I welcomed that. That was great.
yeah, it felt definitely fresh for a type of like that kind of movie. And um I kind of want to watch it again. I thoroughly enjoyed it. So that's kind of the movie I saw this last week. And then I started watching Lovecraft Country on HBO.
I hear good things.
Pretty good, man. Yeah. Uh, it's freaking me out for sure. It's got Jordan Peele on it, or it's uh, written by Jordan Peele. It's got, I think, produced by J.J. Abrams. Um, the type of story they're trying to tell here is very interesting and very unique. Obviously, coming from Jordan Peele, there's a lot of different. It's set in I believe it's the 50s, if I'm not mistaken. And so there's a lot of obviously with race and those types of issues at hand. Aside from being kind of this like weird, I don't even know what genre to kind of put. I mean, it could be like horror and fantasy, I would say, because there are some like fantasy elements in there. But
Right.
I think that's what maybe drew me to it, is that kind of like combination. I'm starting to realize I'm starting to like shows that have like a few different genres blended in, so it's not strictly just one kind of thing. And it's interesting. I really like it. And the actor from
Last
last
Black Man.
yeah, amazing in it. I really like him in it. And
He's a good actor.
he is, and I'm excited to see him in something like this, and kind of see where the show goes. And yeah, very interesting. And there's some stuff that will haunt you. I mean, you like stuff you're gonna have to think about, and maybe not scare you or haunt you for days, like me sometimes. But some stuff to like, it just makes you think about
That's
specific
good.
things.
That's
So,
good.
and that's really good to see in shows like this, especially trying to blend those different genres, but also have something to say, or maybe a message. And maybe not, it's not in your face too much, but like now they're at least trying to say something with telling, especially with seeing it through the eyes of these characters and what they're going through. So yeah, yeah,
Nice.
that's my share for this week, guys.
Love it.
A movie and a TV show.
Um, very good. I would say I'm gonna do quickly. I watched Modern Romance, Albert Brooks comedy from 1981 on the Criterion Channel. It was all right.
Zai?
It's not really 2020 proof or friendly, but it was okay. It was good. It was an easy watch. And then the other thing I'm going to kind of recommend is 2 blocks away. I have some of the world's best ice cream just up the street on the corner of Union and Hyde. There's a place called Swenson's, and it is incredible ice cream. And we had a really hot day the other day, and I bought just a fucking
Tub
of fucking cookie dough. Yeah. But yeah, can't recommend Swenson's ice cream enough. If you're ever in the city and ice cream is your thing, make that a destination. There you go.
I can think ice cream right now, dude.
Icky cream, man. Sorry. But seriously, icky cream, fam. Jonathan, where can we find more of your work on the internet this week?
You guys can find me on Instagram at ShaunDayMusic and on my website, ShaunDayMusic.net. Joey, where can we find your work on the internet?
You can check me out on Twitter at Joey Prodi and on my website, joeyprodiscripts.com. You can check out the show at Top 5 Pod. That's TOPFIVE 5 POD on Instagram, on Twitter at gmail.com, and on YouTube. We're on Facebook at Top 5 Podcast. We're on Apple Music, Google Play, and SoundCloud. So please give us a like, give us a listen, give us a follow, give us your love, and we will give you.
Do you want to know why I got these scars? We're gonna give you a great time, guys. Gonna miss y'all.
Until next time, I'm Joey Prodi.
And I'm Shaun Day.
Thanks for listening. See, my father was a drinker and a fiend. One night, he goes off crazier than usual. Mommy grabs the kitchen knife to defend herself, and he doesn't like that. Not one bit. So, me watching, he takes the knife from her. He sticks the blade in her mouth. He says, I don't know.
Why?
He's so serious. Comes at me with a knife. Sticks the blade in my mouth. Why so serious? Let's put a smile on that face. And why so serious?
Honestly, Joey, you do the best impression of the Joker, dude.
Thanks. It's not great right now, but thank you.